And then this is, hey everybody, welcome to Trail Talk. I'm so glad you could join us today. I'm Edie, and this is our special guest, Robert Peterson. Robert's an artist who lives in Lawton.
Yes, ma'am.
And Robert, I understand that you actually had an exhibit here at the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center several years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell me about how you started out? How long have you been an artist, I guess, who like truly makes a living?
I picked up the paintbrush for the very first time in 2012. It was while I was working at Goodyear. I had actually got hurt. I was running on a treadmill, and the treadmill stopped. It broke, and I was already full force, like running. And as I came down, it was already stopped, and so my hip popped.
Oh my!
And one thing led to another. I ended up having to have my hip replaced. Well, when I got the news about having to have my hip replaced, it scared me, and so I ended up going to Hobby Lobby, and I bought a canvas set and a paint set, and I did my very first painting. That was in like June or July. I think it might have been July of 2012. By March 2013, I was doing my first solo show in New York City. And I took 34 pieces down. I sold 31 in the first 4 hours. And I've been doing it nonstop ever since.
My
Full-time.
goodness. Okay, so you said that was 2012 when you first
picked up the paintbrush.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
was that the first time you'd ever picked up a paintbrush?
Ever. Like, I don't remember, like, even in like, I didn't take any art classes in high school. And junior high, I think, after 7th grade, I wasn't interested. Just because I didn't like what we were learning.
Right.
And so I think after 7th grade, I stopped taking art classes, I believe. And so there was no painting, no acrylics, no oils, not even watercolors. And I don't really mess with watercolors still to this day. I never really have gotten into it. I mainly focus on acrylics and oils. Occasionally I'll do spray paint. And then, like, for the pieces behind us, this is a Copic marker, which it's kind of like watercolor, but it doesn't bleed. You can control it better. And so that's why I like that.
And you say it's a marker. So
it is a marker with a brush tip.
Oh.
But it's a marker.
So all the colors contained inside
Yes, ma'am.
it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's cool. A Copic marker.
Yes, ma'am.
I haven't heard of that before. That's interesting. And you do all of your works on canvas?
Majority of my work is on canvas, but there are times when I would like to work on paper because it's smaller. You can do more. A canvas might take me anywhere from 3 days to 3 months.
Right.
And I work on paper. I can do 2 of these in a day.
Wow.
So yeah.
So you started in 2012. I'm really fascinated by that. That, like, your very first. So you didn't have that struggling period of time where you like trying to find yourself as an artist, maybe
No, I didn't. I think I knew. I think and I stumbled upon it on accident because I use a lot of color. And so I had a gentleman from Seattle. He reached out and he was like, "Can you do a portrait of me?" After seeing some of my other work, and the colors that he wanted, I didn't have, and so I was like, "Well, it's going to be different." And he was like, "I don't care. I just want something of yours." And so I said, "Okay." And this was around 2012 as well, but this was earlier in 2012 because this was actually a work on paper, and I think that's what grew into my style of works on canvas. Because if you look at my work on canvas, it's full of color as well. But the work on paper with the color, like you see right here with Marilyn Monroe, it happened because I didn't have the colors that were in his picture. And so I just grabbed all the markers that I could have in 2 hands, and I made the image using all of the different colors. And then a portrait came out. So, like, if you look at her, like, there's no flesh tones. There's oranges, there's blues and grays and purples and pink. You know, so there's all kinds of different colors, but it comes together and you can tell what it is. Right.
So it's an interesting use of color.
Spontaneous realism is what I call it.
Spontaneous realism. I like that. That is,
yeah.
So before you, I don't know the right terminology. Would I say sketch or paint, or what would you call this?
This? I call it a sketch.
Okay.
It's a drawing.
Okay.
I work on paper.
So before you create a sketch or drawing like this, Do you have that idea in your mind, or
No.
do you just kind of, it comes as you're...
Like, I'll know the subject,
Uh-huh.
but that's it. As far as the color, you don't know. It builds itself. You just let it speak to you. And you'll get to a point where, like, if you look like, say, well, these ones are, of course, you know, grayscale or whatever. So that's a given.
Right.
But if you look at, say, like the Robin Williams and compare it to her, she has less color than he does. But that's only because hers said she was done. It looked done.
Right.
It appeared to be done.
Right.
With the color. Like, I could have added more color, but it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want it to be you want it to have a balance and be attractive. And so you stop when it says it's done.
Mm-hmm. So what were the first subjects that you, or, you know, what was your first...
My wife.
Your wife.
Yeah.
Well, perfect.
Yeah, my wife.
So portraits, is that your...
That is me.
That is
what I
your
Yes, ma'am.
thing. What would do you call that in the art world? Is that your genre, or is that a different word?
I wouldn't call it genre. I'm a contemporary artist who focuses on portraiture.
On portraits.
Yes, ma'am.
Which seems like the hardest thing in the world to me. To choose to...
It wasn't on purpose.
Uh-huh.
It was something, well, I mean, I believe that, like, it was something that God had in me.
Right.
But I didn't know it, and then he brought it out of me when I got hurt. It was like, I'm gonna paint something. And so, like, my background was in men's fashion. I went to school for men's fashion.
Okay.
But I didn't draw faces. Like, when you do your fashion illustrations, you draw the form.
Right.
And your main focus is the garments and how they fold and drape over the person. But I didn't do faces. And so, like, my very first piece that I did, learning to paint, was just a fashion illustration. My first actual painting is a portrait of my wife. And so, like, just getting comfortable, it was a fashion illustration of, I think, like a Balenciaga ad. And then, like, a week or two later, I did the portrait of my wife. And then from there is where my career started.
Okay. Now, did you sell that portrait of your wife?
No. It's the only piece that I have that's not for sale. Like, anything else and everything else that I've created is for sale. Like, when we move into a new house, I always create something new for my wife. And so we just bought a house, and the house before, we actually kept that piece, but the piece that we had before that house, I sold both of those pieces. One of them went to Julius Erving. So, like, everything, and then so
As
like
in Dr. J.
Yes, ma'am.
Julius Erving.
Yes, ma'am. So
wow.
The piece that I'm painting now, she wants a Frida for our new house, and it's big. And so she's like, well, is this going to be for sale? I'm like, well, it's yours. I was like, but if we sell it, I'm going to sell it for $20,000. She was like, you're not going to get $20,000. I said, no, this is worth more than 20. I'll get 20. She was like, well, then I want some of that money. You can put it for sale. So,
you can sell it?
Yeah.
But I get the...
Yeah, and so, but, I mean, everything but that piece is for sale. I mean, that piece is something super, super special. Right. That'll be a piece that I pass down to one of my grandkids. I mean, because that's part of the reason why I create, is for people who invest in my work to have something to pass down. Right. To their loved ones.
Right. That's a great sentiment.
Yeah.
It makes it very personal.
That's the goal.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you aren't doing any commissions right now.
Right.
Because I guess you're commissioned to the max.
I am. I'm filled up on commissions, but I also have to prepare work. I haven't. Who else going to see this?
Well, it's on Facebook Live, so it's out there.
So this will be like the first time that I've actually talked about it.
Okay.
I was
coming to you first, here from the Trail Talk at the
I'm going to
Trail
be doing Scope this year, which opens next month.
Scope.
Tell
us what that is.
Scope is a huge art trade show. Happens, I think, like 4 times a year.
Okay.
The main one that everybody knows about are New York, which happens in September, and then Miami, that happens in December during the Miami Art Basel. Well, they reached out to a guild that I'm a part of, the Black Artists and Designers Guild, and said that they were looking for, artists that are part of the guild to have their own booth or to do a group show. And so they asked that we submit some of our work, and then they would either pick 4 from 2 different people and do a group show, or pick 8 from 1 and do a solo show. Well, several of us artists submitted our work. They picked all 8 of my pieces, and so I'll be doing a solo show.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you so much. So I'm creating for that. And then I've got a few other big things that I'm not going to release yet.
Yeah.
That I'm creating for, and then of course some commissions that I'm trying to knock out as well.
So when you have a show like that, how many pieces are you creating for that? For Scope?
For Scope will be 8.
Okay.
It'll be 8 pieces.
So they liked the 8 that you sent them, but you're taking 8
I always
completely different ones.
I may have like 4 or 5 in that, but I always try to have something new. Just it's not necessary. It's not necessary, but for me, for my peace of mind, I like to present new stuff.
Right.
It's just something I've always done. I create quite a bit. I try to do a few hundred pieces a year.
Wow. Yeah. That's significant.
It
sounds like, to me anyway, that's a lot. That's a piece every 3 days.
I got it.
Okay.
During quarantine, when quarantine first kicked off, I think in 45 days I did 36 pieces. What I would do. You
made good use of your quarantine.
I did. So the purpose of it, and they were all works like this. The point of that was what I I would take all of my followers on Instagram, and then I would have my kids, either my daughter or my son, they would go in and pick one random person. And then I would reach out to that random person and say, okay, well, what I want you to do is I want you to go through your photo album in your phone and find a picture of yourself from a time where you were living life and enjoying yourself. And you were out and you weren't worried about face masks, you weren't worried about COVID-19, you weren't worried about respirators, you weren't worried about, whether or not you're going to get toilet paper. You were free and enjoying life.
Right.
And so the goal of that was to take their mind off of everything that was going on in the world with quarantine and COVID-19, and hopefully take them back to a time where they were happy and bring some joy, lift their spirits. And so they would do that, and they'd send me a selfie or a headshot of themselves, and then within 24 hours I would have it drawn up and post it online. And so they would then, of course, majority of I think all of them actually were excited. They were excited because they were picked. They were excited because they've seen the pictures of themselves, and then they were excited because they were actually turned into a piece of art which will live forever. And so eventually I will show all 36 pieces, and it's called Celebration of Life. Even though we're in a dark time, this is my way of celebrating life.
Wow.
So yeah, I create a lot.
You do. I was just thinking I would use that word creative. I mean, you're like dictionary creative. Oh, it's Robert Peterson.
That's funny.
I mean, you really have a lot of things. That's just awesome. I sense a real positive spirit on you too. You're just really positive about.
Yes,
I mean, what a great way to lift people during that time when toilet paper shortage was a thing.
It was
a thing.
It really was.
Yeah.
People were fighting over it.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you serious? As people, we're fighting over toilet paper.
Right.
So
thank goodness we kind of got past that part.
I'm so
but
glad
it's
we did.
Still, it was a real tough time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed these pieces. These are iconic.
Yes, ma'am.
People
that
when you see the picture, you recognize it.
Right.
Is this are these subjects kind of the main subjects you use, or do you?
No.
I mean,
these were just people who I connected with. I mean, he's one of my favorite all-time actors as a kid. I mean, like Peter Pan and Flubber and everything that he's done. The genie, he was just that guy.
Yes.
And so this was just me paying my respects to him. I feel like all of us are given a gift. And with that gift, it's given to you, not for you to keep, but for you to give to the world. And so this was just my way of giving, honor to him, and then for all of his fans to be able to see as well. And the same with like Eric Clapton. I mean, he's an amazing guy.
Right.
And she's an icon in herself, and she's just full of grace. And,
right. Jackie Onassis, you guys see.
Rosa Parks is absolutely amazing, and everything that she stood and sat for.
Right. That's a good way to put that.
And Ali's one of my favorite all-time athletes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, those are fantastic. And I
Thank you
love
so
it
much.
that, it's not just someone people recognize. You
Right.
chose them because of how they impacted you
Yes, ma'am.
in some way, or,
Yes, ma'am.
a connection that you draw there.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when you started out, you did portraits like in 2012 when you
Yes,
took
ma'am.
those pieces to that first art show?
Yes, ma'am.
Those were portraits. So tell me some
Portrait
of the...
work is pretty much what I focus on. In the beginning, I focused a lot on celebrities, and not so much now.
Okay.
At all. I've actually kind of steered away from that. Occasionally, I might do a celebrity, but it's very rare. Now I like to do live models because I feel like art is the only way to capture time, and the subject that you create, it allows them to live forever. And so I feel like people, celebrities like these people, they've got that. They're going to live forever. They're going to be in history books and magazines and literature and film and spoken about. And so now it's my job to find people who inspire me just from being who they are, and capture them in a way that inspires me to create a painting. And so you'll see that a lot of the pieces that I create now are of people that you don't know, but you may have passed them walking down the street, or in traffic. And the painting will tell a story either of them or something that I felt when I seen them. And then it allows it to live forever, either in somebody's private collection or in a public collection, like in a museum or a gallery or something like that, or a business.
So is 100 works a year, is that kind of an average for you? I mean,
I may do maybe anywhere 25 to 50 on canvas, and then maybe 150 or more on paper.
Every year?
Every year.
Wow. So you've created over 1,000
Yes, ma'am.
pieces of art.
Oh, no. That slowed down.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning, to help, because it was such a hot, because I went from working at a job where there was no appreciation. You were a number.
Right.
You know, and then you go into this where people actually appreciate what you're creating. And so it was like an adrenaline rush.
Feeds.
And so I would sleep maybe 4 or 5, 6 hours scattered throughout the day, naps throughout the day, and paint. I was painting, 7 days a week. I would go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning and be up by 4 to start painting, and then might take a nap at some point in time. There was times where I would eat in the area where I'm painting. I mean, I started out my first show. All of the pieces I did 34 pieces. Majority of those pieces were created in my bathroom because I didn't have a studio, and I was not.
Was there good light?
It was good enough. It was good enough.
Obviously.
And I hadn't moved into the garage yet, because the garage is now my studio because it allows me to be close to my family. But and if it was a smaller work, then I'd create that at my kitchen table. And I did this for maybe a year and a half, and then I ended up moving into the garage because I did larger pieces. Yeah, that's that.
Wow. So, but you've been able to. I mean, you have plenty of room because you do a lot of these, but you do large pieces too. Yes, so tell us some dimensions so people.
I just finished one called Slaying Giants. It's a little boy. He's holding a slingshot drawn back, and it's 48 inches tall by 72 inches wide. And then I have another one that I finished before that. It's a gentleman on a bicycle, on a Mongoose BMX bicycle. And I think it's 60 inches by 60 inches. And I'm getting ready to start on one that's 72 by 72. But I've done them, as far as canvas goes, I think I've done as big as 87 by 87 so far.
Wow.
But there's a chance that I'll be moving into actual studio next year.
Oh, okay.
And if that's the case, then I would like to step up to doing something, maybe a 10 by 20 or 10 by 30 or something like that.
Okay.
I think it'd be fun.
So when you create something that large,
yes, ma'am,
it's not a bust.
No,
of
it's not.
Someone.
It's a full body.
So do you use live models for those, or do you ever just?
I shoot everything on my phone.
Okay.
And then my phone I use for reference, but not every time what I see on my phone is what you'll see on canvas. The person you'll see will be the same, but their garments, their clothing will be different sometimes. I could take a picture of you saying like this, and then I might end up painting you say in, I don't know, say a dress.
Right.
Or, you might be dressed Native American, or this gentleman in the suit or something.
Right.
It's just what feels good, and what goes with whatever the painting is telling me it wants to say. Yeah.
So do you think that training you had in the men's fashion, does that help with any of that? Do you ever?
It's possible.
Do you ever feel like
I
you
don't.
draw
I mean,
on
I've
that?
never really thought about it. I think it's just my goal is to create something that speaks to people, and it can't speak if they can't connect with it, and you can't connect with it if it doesn't look real to you.
Right.
And so my goal is just perfecting the folds, and I don't know if it has. I mean, I imagine the fashion may play a small role in it, but it's more so just making it to where it's like, oh wow, that does look like a shirt.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It looks like you can touch it.
Yeah.
You know, that's my goal, is to create something that people are like, oh man, that looks like it could just jump off the page. You know, and so I mean, I don't know. I mean, fashion maybe there's somewhere way back in the back.
Right. Well, when you take pictures, are you asking people to pose for you, or are these just do you do random pictures of something you see or someone?
No, typically I'll have an idea. There'll be inspiration from something, and so I'll say, okay, like for instance, for the little boy, he used to live across the street from us, and so I went over, I spoke with his grandfather, then I spoke with his mom, and his grandfather brought him over, and he just stood in front of my truck, and I had bought a slingshot off of Amazon. I had him hold it, and I was like, okay, this is what I want you to do. And once I got him posed close to how I wanted, then I was like, okay, now do what feels normal, do what feels natural. And then I began shooting, and I just shot everything with my iPhone. Typically I'll have a camera, or I'll have a photographer come and shoot for me. But if I can't get a hold of a photographer and I don't feel like digging out my camera, I'll shoot it on my phone, because I paint everything from my phone. I use my phone while I paint. I hold my phone and my
so you even download the pictures from the camera, the photographer, to your phone, and just use that?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they're pretty handy.
They are.
I mean, honestly,
yes, ma'am.
You can do a lot of things with those.
That is true.
Okay, so tell us, like, when you were doing celebrities, who were some of the celebrities that you chose to paint in the beginning?
One of my favorite celebrities to paint is Muhammad Ali, and it's my most sold person. I guess. I mean, I've created more Muhammad Alis than I have anyone else, and they've sold more than anyone else. But I mean, I've painted Kurt Cobain, Dorothy Dandridge, the Obamas. I even early on in my career, I painted Donald Trump. I've painted a lot of people. I mean, when you create as many,
put you on a spot,
when you create as many as I have, like my goal is like I create it,
right,
and I give my all to it, and so then once I'm done with it, I release it, and my focus is now on what I'm going to do or what I want to do in the future. So I don't remember everybody that I've painted.
So how would you
painted a lot of people?
So if someone saw one of your first pieces and then looked at what you're creating now, would they make the connection that it's you?
Yes, ma'am.
So you haven't really, that your style has been your style
the
since
style,
you started.
I mean, it's evolved, but it still remains true to itself, which is color. I think that as an artist, the goal is to grow, but still hold tight to what it was that initially introduced you to your audience. And for me, that was color and portraits. And so now it's grown because I don't use so many acrylics like I used to. It was heavy acrylics. And then my wife, who's an amazing support, she began buying me books on other artists. And I started noticing that there's these artists that are in these museums and these galleries that I want to be in. And it's like, okay, what medium are they using? They're using oils. I've got to get this oil thing. And so like I did my very first oil piece, I think in 2015, and it was a Frida piece. And I was painting it, and with acrylics, they dry in like 30 minutes to an hour. And so I painted like over half her face, like a third of her face. And with acrylic, you can do that. And the next day, you can come back, and then you can put your hand on it. And so I went back the next day. Nobody told me. Everything is self-taught. And I put my hand there, and I'm painting. And next thing I know, when I pull my hand down, her nose and her eye are all over the canvas.
All of a sudden, she looks like a Picasso.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was like, crap, this sucks. But I mean, I was able to wipe it off. I learned from that mistake. It's never happened again.
Right.
And that piece is actually up in Oklahoma City. A friend of mine, he's become a friend of mine. He's also a collector of mine. He owns a restaurant called Frida's Southwest in the Paseo Art District. He owns that, and he owns another Frida painting of mine. He bought both of those. So my first ever oil painting is in Oklahoma City, which is great because I love when people of my state buy my work, because then you form the relationship and you can see the work later.
Yeah, go visit the restaurant and there it is.
And it's an amazing restaurant. I'm not saying it because it's my friend. I'm saying it's like the food is great.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add that to my list.
Yeah, you should do it. Tell them I sent you.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
So that has all stayed the same. Do you feel like your use of color has changed, or is it really just the different type of paint?
I think it's more, the palette has changed a little bit. Like in the beginning, there were a little bit more brighter colors that I would use, like teals and bright yellows and stuff like that. And I would do more red for me at the foundation at the beginning of my work. When you see a red background, it means they were like iconic.
Okay.
And so like the pieces with red were highly sought after. You know, people really, really wanted the pieces with red backgrounds. And so, of course, when you're a young artist, you're like, oh, it clicks.
Right.
They get it and they want it, so let me paint more red. Because although I found success in art early, it still was like, I was like, I want more. I want more sales because it felt good. And so I painted more reds. And so now I'm more selective. Like, you don't see as many red pieces. Like if you see something with the red in it, it's really, really, it's been a while since I've used red, and it's really something that's important to me. But now I've leaned a lot more closer to like using blues. I use a lot of different shades of blues and purples, some greens and pinks. Those are like my favorite colors to use. And somehow they just build and layer up to where it creates magic. That's why I tell, like, sometimes I'm laying in the bed and I don't feel like getting up. It's like, all right, go create the magic. And it psychs myself up.
Right,
it's like
right. There you go.
You're building yourself up. You're making your own head big. Go out there and create.
Well, you know, I mean, if you're not working for someone else who expects you to be there at a certain time and all those things, you have to have some kind of motivation.
Yeah.
Now, as an artist, do you ever feel like you get in a little slump? Have you ever had a time like that?
Yeah, I believe that every creative goes through that. And I don't think it's just, you know, visual artists like myself. I think, you know, I mean, my wife, who's an amazing hairstylist, she's an artist. And so I've had the ability to watch her and other hairstylists. They go through those same things. So I think it's just something creatives go through. And I've gone through it. And it's one of those things where you just kind of, that's where like works like these come in handy for me. It's good because the collectors, it allows them to come in and buy something like, because these are a lot more affordable than the canvas work.
Right.
So they can come in and get something like this. But this, you can create, say you create one or two of these in a day, it gives you that instant satisfaction of creating something. And so it helps you to get out of that.
Something start to finish.
Yeah.
And
You can see the whole thing in one day, whereas a canvas, if you're in a slump, it's like, man, this is taking forever. You can talk yourself out of it very easy. And this is like, oh, I just got just another, 45 minutes or an hour and you'll be done. Just stick with it.
Right.
And it pulls you out of it.
So besides, learning that the oils dry slower than the acrylic, what other adjustments did you have to make? Do you ever go and use acrylic now?
Yes, I do. I use it more on, I've got a small series that I do of bison.
Okay.
And that's now become more of a commissioned deal. I don't really do them anymore on my own. I just let them be commissioned, so that each one is unique and important to the person that gets it. And those are all acrylic. I just did one a few weeks back for the mayor of Lawton. He picked up one. I think it was maybe 60 inches by 60 inches, maybe, or 48 by 48. I don't remember. Other than that, like my portrait work is pretty much just oil. Like I said, because of the people that came before me that are in the position that I aspire to be in, they used oil. And so it's like, you want to be somewhere, you got to see who's there and what do they do to get there. Okay, now you got to do it.
Is it more difficult to use the oils versus the acrylic?
I think so.
So kind of tell me how, what makes it more difficult besides the fact that it doesn't dry.
I'm heavy on layering of the colors with everything. I mean, like if you look at her, you'll see the purple is on top of a blue, that's on top of a pink, that's on top of a green.
Right.
With oils, you have to find out how you can do that layer to make it work, right? But it doesn't dry, so it will blend. And it might be a color that you didn't want. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure it all. It has to, somehow you just manipulate it to make it work. Whereas with acrylic, it's like, okay, I could paint this, right? And then if I go ahead and start working over here, by the time I'm finished working on this eye, that might take me an hour or so. This is dry, so I can come back over here, and now I can do that layer. But I have to have the layers in order for it to build up the way it's supposed to build up. With oils, you've got to figure out. And so now, I mean, it's just, it's like it's like breathing. Like I don't think about it. I just do it, and it works.
One of our previous trail talks, an artist painted something on while we were watching, and he uses the very bright Brent Learned. I don't know if you know his work, but very bright colors, Native American subjects, and you know, he's just like painting, and then he comes back with another color on top because of the way it just goes on, and it just dries, and it, you know, it's fast. It's a really fast process, and so it seems like that oil must be a slower, and it must, you know, take
and it takes
more
forever to dry, so you have to. I think I'm up to like 4 or 5 easels in my studio now, and they're big easels. Like I've got one piece that's sitting on an easel now that's 84 by 60. So you have to have the larger easel. You can't just use the small tripod easel. You have to use the big easels because it has to be able to support it and hold it. And I have a huge industrial fan blowing, so it needs to be strong enough that they're not wobbling and you risk falling over, or if somebody bumps it, they can't knock it over because that'll smear it. And so you have to take that into account with everything that you do as well. The dry time is crazy.
You must have a super clean garage.
No, I don't. I have to clean it after every painting. Every painting I clean, I have to go through and clean because it gets somehow, even though I'm right here in front of this easel, everything around me is dirty as crap. I don't get it.
Do you get paint all over you?
Everything, yes. This is a new shirt. And I'm going to go home. I'm working on 3 Native American paintings all at once. And I'll be painting. This will be covered in paint. The people at the mall, I buy the t-shirts because they're cheap. And they know. I'm like, oh, this is Robert. And they're like, okay, we got you. I go and I buy 20 shirts at a time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
because I'm going to mess them up.
Work clothes.
Yeah, exactly what it is. We write it off on our taxes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Little tax tip today, too.
Yeah.
Y'all probably weren't expecting that.
It's your uniform.
So tell me your very most favorite. I mean, you mentioned Muhammad Ali.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he like your most favorite subject that you've ever painted, or, you know, probably your wife?
My wife is.
Yeah. If you watch this, he means you are first. But besides her.
Yeah. Honestly, like it changes. I've got a piece, and I just posted about this on Instagram yesterday. I think it was, or the day before yesterday. I've got a piece. It's a round piece, and it's 48 inches by 48 inches, and it's 3 females. There's an African American woman, there's a white woman, and there's a biracial woman, and it's titled Queen. And the inspiration was from Barclay Hendricks. He did a piece. It's called Surf Something. It's three men. It's all the same guy, but he's posed 3 different ways in a red jacket. And so what I did was with these 3 women, I didn't want to put them all in one jacket because I didn't want to copy. He was inspiration.
Right.
And so they're all, the way they're tied in is the clothing that they have is it's either like a blue skirt or blue dress or a blue blouse, and it has different size white polka dots that connects them, and then they're interlocked and they're armed. Another part of the inspiration is I was raised by my mother because my stepfather was always gone and my dad was nowhere around. And summertimes with my grandmother would raise me in the summertime, and then my older sister, she would always look out. So I was raised by 3 women, and then I was blessed to be able to grow up and marry my wife and then have a daughter. And so women have always been like a huge part of who I am.
Right.
And so like this piece was just dedicated to all women who I feel are queens, and they should be treated as such. And so I think that's my most favorite piece for right now, over any Ali piece that I've done or any other piece that I've done.
Has that been on your Instagram page for a little while?
Yes, ma'am.
A week or so? I saw that.
Yes, ma'am.
I saw that piece on there, and it really caught my eye. It's very beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I really did like that. You guys should look at his Instagram page. Caleb Lee 81. Caleb Lee 81. He has a lot of works on there, and I guess everything you said everything you have is for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing we haven't talked about yet are your murals.
Yes, ma'am.
tell us about your murals. I've seen one of them in Lawton.
Which one did you see?
Paul George.
Okay.
I saw that one.
That was the last one that I've done.
Greg Irway was here. He did a trail talk a while back, and he was talking about you. He said you guys knew each other.
Yeah, that's my buddy.
Yeah, and so anyway, he was telling me that you painted these murals. I said, wait, did he paint Paul George?
Yeah.
And he said, yes, he did.
I did.
So I was kind of excited when I realized that I was going to get to meet the guy who made that, because it's awesome.
I've done a few. I did Paul George, and I did Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook left a year and a half after I did his, and Paul George left 2 weeks after I did his.
2 weeks. They're both in Thunder uniforms. I mean, but that's okay. Thunder fans will always love Paul George and Russell
exactly.
Westbrook.
I mean, they've done a lot.
Thing.
I'm actually in the process of getting ready to do another Thunder player somewhere between here and Oklahoma City, or between Lawton and Oklahoma City, and I'm praying, I'm hoping that he doesn't leave. I'm hoping he doesn't leave, because if he does, people are gonna really not like my murals.
Oh, no more, Robert.
So I did both of those, and then I did on I think it's 2nd and Lee Boulevard. I think it's called Don's Tires, maybe. Kelly Brierton owns it. There's a tire shop there.
Okay.
And on the side of that building, I have two 10-foot. They're circles, 10-foot circles each, and they have a Native American woman draped in an American flag, facing each other. One has a blue face paint and the other has a red face paint, and they're facing each other. And then on 17th and Ferris, I did another Native American person. I think I did another one somewhere, but I don't remember. But just like my painting, like my murals, I'm in and out. Day and a half to 2 days tops.
Really?
And I'm gone. Yeah.
So what do you use for that?
Spray paint.
Spray paint.
Yes, ma'am.
For those.
So
how did that come about?
Desiree Snyder, she is the president for the Lawton Forza Art Council. And her and her husband Rodney they're like family to me. Some of my best friends, and she reached out and she was like, hey, we need something to liven up our building. And she was like, maybe to get some attention or whatever. She's like, would you do a mural? And I was like, sure. I had never done it. I had never really used spray paint. And so I said, yeah. And so what I did was I went to, I think, Hobby Lobby, and I bought a black spray paint. And I went into my garage, and I had a canvas tarp draped on my wall. I pinned it to my wall, and I spray painted Muhammad Ali. And it turned out okay.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I got this. Yeah. And so I went out there, and I painted the piece that you see on 17th and Ferris. That was the first one. And then at Eye Candy Fitness, she commissioned me to do a piece that's inside her gym. And that was my second one. And that one turned out amazing. Like, it's one of my favorites, I think, because she gave me freedom to do whatever I wanted. I did the whole wall. And once I did that, like, I learned a lot of tricks because the background's black. So I learned how to fade and blend and feather stuff because I knew I'd paint over the background.
Right.
And so I did that piece, and then I did the Westbrook and the Paul George, and then Native American, and that might be it, actually.
Wow. Well, it is amazing.
Thank you.
I can't imagine going from a brush or marker to a paint can.
It's the same thing, though.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think any artist. Like, I would like to see Greg get out there with a can and see what he can do. I think any artist.
You should challenge him. You guys should have a spray paint throwdown.
No, I wouldn't do that to him. He's my friend. You don't do that to friends.
Maybe you like.
I'll give him I'll challenge him to do it, and then maybe I'll come back in 2 years because I've got him beat by a few years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You have a few under your belt already.
Yeah, and then once he gets more familiar, then it'll be like, okay, let's. We've got some guys, the Shaw brothers. They're in town. There's some amazing artists in town. You guys probably should look them up too.
Okay.
Now I would challenge them because they do the murals. They're really good at what they do, and I wouldn't have a problem saying, okay, well, you go take this wall, I'll take this wall, and then.
That'd be a great little fundraiser for somebody.
If I lose, though, it's because they got 2 and I'm 1.
There you've already got your story.
Yeah.
You got your story already.
Yeah, but they do amazing work. I think Greg, and any artist that can actually, draw whatever it is that you draw, you're comfortable drawing with on canvas or paper. If you give yourself patience and grace, you can put it onto a wall. It's just going to take a little bit longer. but you can do it.
Right. Greg is one of those artists I was talking to you earlier about, talking about doing new things to stretch himself as an artist.
Right.
To, you know, what kind of things have you done that you feel like have, you know, stretched you or pushed you outside of your comfort zone to
I think
things?
That's a great question. I think that the bison was one of the things that really challenged me and pushed me as an artist. I was actually taking a piece in to get framed at the frame store where I go in Lawton, and I have collectors Linda and Larry Neal. This was before they were collectors. Linda was in there, and she was like, "You're Robert. I've heard about you. You do great work." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." She's like, "Yeah, you do all these portraits." She was like, "Would you do a buffalo?" And I was like, "Well, you just talked about what I do, but you're wanting
You want me to
like you know what I do,
Yeah.
but you want something completely different."
Can I put him in a suit and tie?
Yeah. And so she was like, "Oh, I just believe you can do it." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I don't want to let you down, but you know, your confidence in me is kind of, you know, gonna get me to do this." And so I did it, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I loved it. It's titled Luther, the bison, and we hung it up in their bedroom, and since then they've gone, of course, to buy some portrait work.
Right.
But
right.
that bison grew into, I think I've done maybe like 7 or 8 bisons now. And that was something that pulled and stretched on me because it was out of my comfort zone. I've become comfortable doing people. And then, I mean, as far as an artist, transitioning from doing celebrities to doing normal people was a little bit of a stretch, because you have that worry about, okay, well, what if my audience doesn't receive this like this, because this is what they're used to.
Right.
And I have a collector that already loves and looks forward to collecting, you know, celebrities
Right.
and professional athletes.
Right.
But I mean, the transition was easier than I thought, and my career has continued to grow. And so, I mean, I'm grateful, I'm blessed. So, I mean, everything that has stretched me has made me better.
Right.
You know, it's a
Right.
good thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And
Thank
so
you.
you have a family.
I do.
You have some kids.
We do.
And that's pretty awesome. Do they show interest in art? You and your
I
wife
think-
are both artists.
All of my kids are amazing art. They can all draw really, really well. My oldest son, he's in the Navy now. He joined the Navy, and he left for basic in January, and he's
Okay.
now stationed in California. For pen to paper at the age of 18, his line work was better than my line work was at 18, because I've always sketched or doodled. It wasn't until I was 31 that I began painting. And he's tried his hand at painting a few times, and it's not bad, but his line work is what impresses me. And then we have a middle son, is Joshua. He's 17. He can draw too. Like, when he puts his mind to it, of course, because he's 17, he's wanting to run and play sports and play
Right, yeah.
PlayStation and do this
Right.
and do that.
Yeah. No one was.
So
he doesn't
does-
want to sit still.
Yeah, he
when-
doesn't want to sit still.
Right.
But when he focuses on it, just like my daughter Brianna, they both draw. All 3 of them can draw really well. We just had a conversation with my daughter, because she's like, "Dad, I don't really want to be in art." I'm like, "But you can draw. It's a great A. It's an easy A. You can get in there. You probably draw better than most of the people in there." Because I'm not saying this as your dad, because me personally as a parent, I don't want to set my kids up for failure. So, like, if you're not good at something, I'm like, "Hey, maybe we should try something else."
Yeah.
And so I won't boost my kid up on something that they're not good at. I'm
Right.
like, "You can draw. I'm not telling you this just because I love you, because if you sucked at it, I'm going to say, babe, you kind of suck."
Yeah.
But you can really draw when you want to. Like, just get your A, because you have to have the credit. Just get your A. So, yeah, they can do it, but I don't think none of them want to be an artist. My son's, like I said, he's in the Navy. And I wouldn't really encourage them to be artists. I mean, you have your highs and your lows. And I don't see the passion there to keep them doing it. And I'm sure, as Greg and other artists have told you, like, as an artist, you have to motivate yourself. I create, hundreds of pieces each year because I'm motivated to do it on my own. I'll lay in the bed and be like, "Hey, go create the magic."
Yeah.
And that's enough for me to get out. I don't have to have a commission or a potential sale to get out. I can get out and know that this piece may not sell this year. It might not sell for 12 or 18 months, but I'm creating it because the thought of it wakes me up every day or keeps me up all night. And I don't know that my kids have that passion for it.
Well, I mean, you were
I think they can do it.
31
Yeah.
before you even knew that, so, you know.
Well, I hope, that whatever it is they do, whether it's being an artist, or my son at one point in time talked about wanting to be a lawyer, my daughter talked about wanting to be a pediatric surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is that they decide that they want to do, doesn't matter what it is,
right.
as long as it's legal. and it makes them happy.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I think I'm at that point in my life because I look at what I do and what my wife does, for the most part, it's like an 80-20% type deal, 80%, 20% deal. 80% of the time, we're truly, truly happy with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, well, for my wife, not necessarily me, I mean, because my art took off really fast, and nobody really said, don't do art.
Yeah.
But for my wife, when she was younger, I don't think that, not necessarily family, but maybe friends or people that she worked with and doing what she was doing for hair supported that. And I look at what she's doing now. She owns her own salon. It's one of the best salons in the town. They're super big. I mean, she's booked out 2 to 3 months.
Oh my
her
goodness.
girls are booked out. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're happy,
Yeah.
and I think happiness is the foundation for true success. Because you have some people that you'll look at them and say, okay, you're making a lot of money, you're successful. And the truth is they're bitter inside because they're not complete, they're not whole. Well, we are happy inside because we're happy with what we're doing, and we're just fortunate enough to make the money that we make to live the lives that we live. And so that's what I want for my kids. I want them to experience the joy that I experience. So whatever it is they want to do, if they decide at 31 they want to be an artist, I'm gonna buy your paintbrush.
Exactly.
I think my dad is 65. I took him and bought him because he's getting into painting.
Wow.
He's like, son, you inspire me. My dad and I, we didn't have a relationship when I was small. I said that at the beginning, like I didn't have my dad around. But after I had my kids, I called my dad. I was like, I understand.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had my first son, I was like, Dad, he was crying. It was rough. I said, but I stuck it out because I didn't have you. I said, so now I forgive you because you just didn't know, you were too young. And we formed a relationship. And so our relationship is really great now. He's one of my best friends. But he said, watching me paint has inspired him. He's not doing it to sell or anything. Like, he doesn't sell any of his work. But I bought him, the paintbrushes that I use are a little bit above what he uses.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, look, this is the deal. I'm going to take you and I'm going to buy you the brushes. You're going to use the same stuff that I use. And so he cried in the middle of the store.
Aww.
But he's happy. And that's what I want for people. I want people to, to be happy. I want people to feel joy, the joy that I have. I think that it's an amazing thing. And why wouldn't you want somebody else to experience it?
Well, it sounds like the things that you and your wife do truly give joy to other people.
I hope so.
I mean, people see your works, and I just got so excited when I saw that Paul George mural that day.
Yes,
I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. And your wife helps people look great and feel good about themselves. So you guys are going around sharing the joy, and that's awesome, Robert.
Thank you so much.
I think I'd like to let you guys, if anyone has any questions, if you're on Zoom with us, you can unmute your microphone and ask questions if you want. Sometimes we have questions and sometimes we don't. So we'll just see if anyone, it doesn't look like anyone has any questions for Robert. Thank you so much, Robert, for coming on Trail Talk today. This was great.
I appreciate it.
It was fantastic. And if anyone's interested, remember his Instagram, Caleb Lee 81. Caleb Lee 81. There you go. Look him up, and he's got a lot of cool pieces he showed up with today and other things on there. And anyway, we look forward to seeing what great lengths your career goes to.
Thank you,
Robert.
so
much. I'm just so pleased to get to meet you, and now I'll get to
the feeling is mutual.
Follow you and see where this all goes, because this is fantastic. What a great story.
I appreciate it.
So thanks for watching us today on Trail Talk. We'll be back next week on Tuesday. We're going to give you on Wednesday, the 20 whatever that day is, 6th. 26th, is that right, next week? Anyway, next Wednesday, Trust me, it's been a long day. Okay, we'll be taking you on a little tour of the Chisholm Trail Heritage Center. So you're gonna want to join us for that. And then George Rhodes, a local cowboy poet, will be joining us on Thursday. So we're pretty excited about next week. I hope you guys all enjoyed Robert. Now, Robert, we like to sign off together.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask everybody, unmute yourself so we can hear you, and what we do is I'll count to 3 and we'll say happy trails.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
trails! Bye!